The fog is getting thicker!
And Leon's getting larger.
I never have been very interested in the Xbox line of consoles, but if I had owned a 360 back in the day, Earth Defense Force 2017 would have been one of my first games. Although it's likely I wouldn't have even known about it at the time, due to it being a very niche series, something that Sandlot has been working to remedy over the years. I wasn't made aware of the series until I saw Derek Alexander's excellent video on EDF 2017. Let me tell you, I was hungry for bug blood after watching that video. Are you unfamiliar with the series? Well, it's a lot like this. Bet you're hyped now. Earth Defense Force 5 is the most recent main entry in the series, and is 110 missions of bug blasting, machine mangling, and alien annihilating goodness. It is absolutely the finest game in the series, due to all the little additions and adjustments made to the formula, like some of the armor you pick up applying to other classes, and being able to earn weapons for classes that you aren't currently playing. Not to mention the item collection circle. These may not sound like much to newbies, but trust me, they are massive quality of life additions that longtime fans are grateful for. The plot is about as basic as your typical Mario game. Aliens have invaded the Earth.
Welcome to Earth.
Bringing with them giant ants.
Things so horrible, so terrifying, so hideous. There is no word to describe them.
Spiders.
Get back! Wait-legged freaks!
Bees. And these new roly-polies that'll seriously fuck you up if you underestimate them. Later on, you'll start encountering bipedal frogmen and the aliens themselves, both of which carry ranged weapons and can utilize tactics not seen before in the EDF series. You'll face many other threats as well, but I'll leave those as a surprise. If you pay attention to the amazingly cheesy, corny, and campy dialogue being delivered over the radio, you'll sometimes hear foreshadowing of an enemy that you'll likely end up facing in the next mission.
Bad news. The mysterious monster Archelaus is on a collision course with the combat area.
What did you just say?
This dialogue is a trademark of the series, and I can't imagine playing these games without it.
It's acid! It's bloody acid!
It's just so massively entertaining with how cheesy it all is. Plus, it just goes so well with the simple gameplay of destroying everything that isn't human. Stick around to the end of the video for EDF soldiers say the darndest things. Now let's talk about the 4 classes you can play. Ranger, the quintessential EDF soldier and your workhorse for when the going gets tough. Whereas other classes might have difficulty with certain missions, the Ranger can handle any challenge like a champ. Their arsenal is the most standard out of the crew, using weapons like assault rifles, shotguns, rocket launchers, missile launchers, and grenade launchers. Remember, standard does not mean boring or lacking in spectacle. The first time you fire a high-level Stampede grenade launcher into a fast-approaching swarm of insects and watch their numbers get sliced in half, well man, that's just sex for EDF players. New to the series, they also have access to a 3rd equipment slot that can be used for things like boosting your running speed or speeding up the lock-on function of your missiles. Or you could forego these buffs and instead use that slot for a vehicle, such as tanks or helicopters. Or my personal favorite, the bike. It's difficult to control, but good God is it fun. I recommend starting with Ranger if you're new to the series.
Hello there.
The wing divers are the goddesses of victory. Most giant insects can't fly, so it'll be a one-sided fight. That is, if you have the skills for the job. The Wing Diver playstyle requires careful management of an energy gauge that powers both your flight suit and arsenal of energy-based weapons. If you misjudge a reload and draw too much energy, it's possible to find yourself completely helpless until your emergency recharge finishes. But if you've got the aptitude, Wing Divers are valuable assets for online gameplay, drawing enemies away from down players and then swooping in to get them back up. Sorry if you were expecting skilled Wing Diver footage in this video. I just don't like managing that energy meter. It's frustrating, makes me wanna... Air Raider. Air Raider is the Black Mage equivalent of the team. They can absolutely dominate the enemy with their powerful airstrikes and vehicles, but good luck keeping your cool when a horde of bugs suddenly turns their attention towards you. An Air Raider caught outside of a vehicle on a harder difficulty is most likely dead. One of my favorite things to do with this class is to go to Mission 20, the beach mission with all the red ants. Play on hardest difficulty with the Nyx Red Shadow, or Red Nyx as I call it. Once the second wave comes, you just stand right in their oncoming path and give them the business with your twin flamethrowers and plasma shotguns. Even better when playing online, which functions remarkably well by the way. It's so easy to just find a room of randos playing on the difficulty you want and join up for some team play. If Ranger isn't enough spectacle and Wing Diver is too hard for you, play Air Raider. Now Fencer, well that's a different story. I'm sorry guys, but I'm just not the right person to be giving opinions on the Fencer, because most of what I have to say would not be kind, and would probably do the class a great injustice. Wouldn't want to rile up the Fencer community. To put their playstyle in a nutshell, big melee weapons with big shields and big guns, with extremely sluggish movement in the hands of somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, like me. If any EDF fans watching would like to give some advice in the comments, please do. I'll bet I could get a lot more value out of this game if I could just learn how to wrangle the Fencer. Without a doubt, the hardest class to play. All this freedom to choose your playstyle, and I didn't even mention the special equipment options. Let's say an assault rifle is too basic for you. Perhaps swap it out with a flamethrower, or an acid gun, or claymores, or a Super Soaker 9000 filled with nanomachines that can heal allies, or buff posts, decoys, and electromagnetic barriers for air raiders. There are a ton of these specialized options, and they can be very valuable in certain situations. I'm a simple guy with simple pleasures. Give me a flamethrower in a tightly enclosed space and I'm good to go.
City monsters, take my flame!
Let's talk about the difficulty settings. Thankfully Sandlot was kind enough to dial back some of the tedium by making it so that if you beat a mission on hard mode, it'll mark easy and normal as cleared. Though bizarrely, finishing on hardest difficulty doesn't do the same thing. As for Inferno, the EDF series has suffered from a small problem for a while concerning difficulty. Due to the nature of its design, if you don't have the numbers, you simply will not be able to finish a certain difficulty. Not without a lot of cheese. There's a twin-stick shooter I like a lot called Crimson Land. You can get through the first few waves in that game without much trouble, but if you don't take the right perks with a good weapon, you will be mathematically incapable of stemming the tide of enemies. It's a situation where high skill does play a role, but it only helps so much. Using your weapons smartly and knowing how to put some space between you and your enemies using buildings will get you far, but a strong weapon and high armor pool will often get you farther.
On today's episode of How Fucked Up Is Fucked Up, that's fucked up.
But hey, this is EDF. Firing a massively overpowered rocket launcher into a group of bugs and watching them jib into dozens of pieces is what this series is all about. I don't mind that it's not exactly the thinking man's game. It's a perfect pick up and play game after a long day of work when you're mentally drained. Start mission, blow shit up, collect your rewards, rinse and repeat. It's an addictive and satisfying gameplay loop that I can keep doing for hours without getting bored. While collecting item boxes does give me a certain amount of satisfaction, I imagine it's the kind of thing that would get tedious for some people. If you want to increase your maximum armor or get new weapons, you gotta pick up these red and green boxes that are dropped from enemies. Some classes can do this on the fly in the middle of a mission, but it's often better to just wait until the end of a mission before collecting your spoils. However, if you kill the last enemy and trigger the mission complete message, you can easily miss out on a bunch of boxes, and this will happen to you eventually. The music is serviceable, but after about 50 or so hours I finally turned it off and started playing my own. Don't worry, my choice of music was thematically appropriate. The soundtrack isn't bad or anything, a lot of it invokes the era of the old monster movies, but this track with this airy sound effect, it is so boring, and I swear it ends up playing in almost every mission. At least there is one really good track that plays when it's time to get hyped up. Hell yeah, dude, let's go kill us some goddamn aliens. I was playing EDF 5 on stream for some buddies on Discord, and one of them said, it's like Dynasty Warriors with guns. And you know what? Yeah. Tons of enemies to mow through, cheesy dialogue, basic graphics that don't get in the way of the action. It really is Dynasty Warriors with guns. Just tell that to your friends if they ever ask what the EDF games are like. Personally, I think this is the kind of game that anybody could enjoy. It's like Mario or Tetris. EDF is just fun. Isn't that what games are all about? If you're playing a game that's not fun,
What's wrong with you?
EDF 5 is available on Steam and PS4. But if the $60 price tag bothers you, then I recommend getting EDF 4.1 on sale instead, since it'll be a much cheaper way of getting exposed to the series. I wouldn't recommend starting with EDF Insect Armageddon or Iron Rain. These are side projects made by different teams, and they play differently from the main series. Maybe I'll talk about Iron Rain sometime. Real quick, I would like to give a shout out to Some Call Me Johnny for giving me some advice and sharing my Donkey Kong Land video on his Twitter. That was massively solid of him, and it helped boost my sub count to almost 450 in just a couple days. If you're unfamiliar, go check out his YouTube channel. The guy works hard and he makes great content. Plus, anybody that loves cats is alright in my book. Johnny, if you're watching this, give Celine a little pat on the head from me, won't you? I've got some great ideas for future videos, still keeping with the theme of hidden gems, of course. Plus, I've got a second Steam Shmups video coming in October, so maybe subscribe and stick around. But until next time, this is A Skeleton, signing out.
They killed my comrade! Time for revenge!
You just love your pets that much? Then we'll send your pets to hell! Let me down!
Don't give up! Pull the trigger! Shoot him down!
Shoot the monsters down!
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck.
The pylon came from the sky! That means the monsters also came from the sky! Awesome!
The enemy wants to break through, but we won't allow that to happen. They shall not pass! Once we're back to the base, I'll buy you guys a good meal.
Don't tell us we have to cook it ourselves.
And what's wrong with that?
There seem to be new weapons involved. They used it to weaken the aliens before the fight. New weapons, roll!
Oh, we are the valiant infantry. We are the alpha team with passion and camaraderie. Hear us as we shout at the top of our lungs. Be calm, be bold, and raise your guns.
The new type drones have been dispatched.
It's only with our sacrifice that mankind can still exist out here in paradise.
We shall spread our wings wide and fly high.